Good evening, everyone. Happy Halloween. My name is Charles Montgomery, and I am your host tonight for Charlie's Chatter. Tonight, we will start with WVU football. The West Virginia Mountaineers are in Waco tonight to play Halloween night against the number 12 Baylor Bears. Both teams coming off bye weeks, with West Virginia at 3-4, currently on a 3-game losing streak. Baylor 7-0. They are now the only undefeated team left in the Big 12 after Oklahoma lost last week to Kansas State. So Baylor Bears leading the conference with a chance still to make the conference championship. Now, we will send it out to Ron Swanson, who is at Milan Puskar Stadium with an update. Thank you, Charles. I'm Ron Swanson out here at Milan Puskar Stadium, where the Mountaineers just left 2 hours ago to face Baylor in Waco in a Big 12 matchup. Baylor, the last undefeated team in the Big 12 after Oklahoma lost last weekend. The Mountaineers 3-4 looking to pull off the upset, as Baylor is ranked number 12 in the top 25. The Mountaineers will have to contend with junior quarterback Charlie Brewer, who has thrown for nearly 2,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. I'm excited to watch the game that God created on Halloween night. Back to you, Charles. Thank you, Ron, for that great update at the football stadium, and may I say, very nice mustache, but you're not wearing the shorts, so you're not as good as Charles Montgomery out there. He's a great reporter. I know him well. Going on, MLB Game 7 as we speak. It's going on right now as we're recording this. This is Wednesday night. We're recording this. Game 7, Washington Nationals, Houston Astros. After the Nationals won the first 2 games, both in Houston, it went to D.C. Houston won 3 straight in Washington, forcing Game 6 in Houston, and the Nationals won Tuesday night to force a Game 7. So this is the first time in World Series history that the road team has won all 6 games. First time they won the first 6 games, actually, just the first 6. So pretty incredible. The Nationals, if it keeps going the way it's going to go, the Nationals are going to win. But you guys will know the outcome by the time this comes out. Going on, college football, we had a crazy, crazy weekend. A lot of college football playoff implications. Not a ton of upsets, but just the implications in general were huge. Starting off, number 2 LSU hosting number 9 Auburn. Fantastic game, a lot of hype around it. It was a good game, a little boring. Auburn, offensively just couldn't get going. They could not get going, and I'm not blaming that 100% on Bo Nix. Yes, Bo Nix needs to do more, but he's a freshman. What can you expect? The kid's young. He's got a lot to learn. He'll develop into a heck of a quarterback, and he didn't look terrible. He was only went 15 for 35 for 157 yards and a touchdown. He also had 1 interception, so not what you need to do. When you're in Death Valley against LSU, you need to do way more than that. So a little disappointing there, but not bad. Auburn offensively as a whole, though, was terrible. They had only 287 yards total. LSU had 508. So there's your difference maker. Both defenses were very good, but Auburn couldn't get together. They lost a close one, 23-20 to the LSU Tigers. Joe Burrow, though, continues his Heisman tear. He has now moved into number 1 for me in the Heisman race, as he went 32 for 42 for 321 yards and a touchdown. Not incredible stats, but he does exactly what he needs to do to get it done. Auburn, they have a great defense. I've said this before. Their defense is not talked up enough. So he did a great job, really did what he needed to do to get the win. And Auburn looks good. One last thing so you can think about this. DJ Williams, freshman running back for Auburn, in place of Boobie Whitlow. Boobie Whitlow, who's been kind of nursing an injury here lately. He came in a couple times with a Wildcat formation, but Williams was the main guy. He had 13 carries for 130 yards. Not bad. Not bad for a freshman. But moving on, number 13, Wisconsin at number 3, Ohio State. I said last week this could be a dangerous game for Ohio State. You never know. Wisconsin, they're out for blood. After losing to Illinois, it wasn't even close. My producer, Nick Kramer, was at the game, and I bet it was one incredible atmosphere. He said it was a lot of fun, and it should have been. Ohio State dominated 38-7. Fields looked good, but the star was J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins carried the ball 20 times for 163 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also caught the ball 3 times for 58 yards, as the Buckeyes really looking like one of the best teams in college football right now, but they are hanging at number 3 in the rankings going into their bye week this weekend. Staying in the Big Ten, number 6, Penn State at Michigan State. Didn't expect a lot in that game, and there wasn't a lot. Penn State rolled 28-7, no surprise. Number 8, Notre Dame at number 19, Michigan. Michigan, where was this at against Penn State? I mean, you guys were incredible. 45-14, Ann Arbor was rocking. A classic matchup between the Fighting Irish and the Wolverines. Wolverines, man, they were incredible. 45-14. I never turned the game on. just because it was crap from the start. So, great win. Great win for Michigan. Jim Harbaugh can rest a little bit easier, but he's still got to contend with the Buckeyes here in a few weeks. Big 12. Terrible, terrible weekend for the top Big 12 teams. We had 3 ranked teams going into the weekend. All 3 lost. Number 15, Texas, lost to TCU 37-27. I had faith in the Longhorns. I thought they'd get the win. They're still a contender, but not anymore. They're now 5-3. Easily, I'm now saying they're the most overrated team coming into 2019, and I think it's becoming apparent now. Ellinger did not look good. 22 for 48 for 321 yards with 2 touchdowns, but 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions. If you're going to be an elite quarterback in the Big 12, you can't turn the ball over 4 times like that with interceptions. Ridiculously terrible performance, and 5-3. They're dead in the water right now. Iowa State finally crawled back into the rankings at number 23, but of course, they lose. 34-27, Oklahoma State with the big upset at home. It was at Iowa State, and Oklahoma State pulled off the win. Brock Purdy, quarterback for the Cyclones. He's finally starting to get some recognition, getting considered an elite quarterback in the Big 12. And no. 39 for 62 for 382 yards with 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. Nice job. Really good. He threw the ball 62 times, and he couldn't even break 400. He threw 3 interceptions. That's ridiculous. 62 times. I can't think of an NFL quarterback that throws the ball 62 times in a game. What was that? The big one, though, in the Big 12, Oklahoma. The Sooners, they've been cruising, looking like they're going to make their way into the CFP, no problem, and they get beat bad. 48-41 was the final score, but it was worse than that. K-State was rolling. Wildcats looked really good, but they kind of let the Sooners crawl in there in the final 10 minutes. And actually, Oklahoma, after cutting it to 1 score, kicked an onside and recovered the onside. Was looking like, okay, they're going to get the ball, great field position, get a chance to tie the game or win it if they went for 2 with a touchdown. But they call it back, illegal touching by a Sooners player. So that window for the CFP could have just shut on the Sooners, but I don't know just yet. A lot of teams still have a chance to really kind of screw up here. But Jalen Hurts still looked good. 19 for 26 for 395 yards and just 1 passing touchdown. Not bad, but I think he's moved down to second in my Heisman race. Burrow has now jumped him for number 1. Here's my 3 keys. I'm going to give you these 3 keys to look at why Kansas State really won this game. Possession. K-State had the ball for 38 minutes. 38 minutes. Oklahoma's offense was on the field for 22 minutes. That's huge. They kept the offense on the sideline, and then when their offense was on the field, they actually scored. They weren't just going down, driving, then punting or kicking field goals. They were scoring touchdowns. They did a fantastic job. Their rush defense. OU only had 102 total yards on the ground. Jalen Hurts has been getting that in 1 quarter alone this season. 102 total yards as a team for the Oklahoma Sooners, and that is the first time that they've had less than 200 all season. Their worst was actually against West Virginia where they had 197, but I don't really count that. No offense, Mountaineers, still love you. Their final real big key to that success, the advantage on the field position / turnovers. Oklahoma turned the ball over twice. K-State scored 2 touchdowns because of those turnovers. They had great field position quite a few times thanks to kickoffs and stuff like that, and they took advantage. They really looked good. Their offense was cruising. Skylar Thompson at quarterback didn't throw the ball incredibly well, but he ran the ball well, got down the field when he needed to get down the field, converted 3rd downs when he needed to. Just looked really good. Just an all-around great performance. K-State was up 25 at one point in the 4th. So like I said, it shouldn't have been a 7-point game. It was more like a 2-touchdown game. But that is it. Recap, quick but simple. That was kind of the biggest stuff to talk about for college football. Here we go, just a quick little recap to wrap it up. Not much to talk about. Really just one game. Number 8, Georgia at number 6, Florida. It's in Jacksonville. Too bad, not in the swamp. They play in a neutral site in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm excited. It should be a very good game. Georgia, they've been a disappointment in my eyes. Even though they're 6-1, they beat Notre Dame a few weeks ago. Notre Dame, of course, not looking that strong anymore, but they're not a bad team. Fromm, he's not looked that great. He was being considered one of the top quarterbacks in the SEC after last season, looking very good. But just, he's been disappointing this year. And Florida, they've been all but just perfect. They've been fantastic. Their only loss comes against LSU, and they didn't play that bad in that game either. They're a strong team. They're doing it with Kyle Trask, their backup quarterback, after Felipe Franks snapped his ankle. against Kentucky about a month ago. So they've looked really good. They have a great defense here. They're another team like Auburn who has a great defense that does not get a lot of recognition. So this Florida team, very solid team. Now, if Florida wins, they're going to roll out the East. They're going to make it to the SEC Championship, I think, no problem. They play Vanderbilt, Missouri, and then they play FSU, Florida State, the in-state rivalry, to finish the year. Georgia, though, they have a tough one. They still play Missouri, at Auburn, home against A&M, Texas A&M, and then at Georgia Tech. That Auburn game, that's a dangerous game. So is the Missouri. Don't sleep on Missouri against either Florida or Georgia. That's still a very good team with Kelly Bryant. But Florida, another good team, another tough team for Georgia. I still think the Dogs are going to win this one. I think it's going to be the Dogs. So that will wrap it up for this episode. One last thing, we did get stickers. They came in the mail today. I got 50 of them. If you want a sticker, let me know. I will seal them off for you, hold one for you. But we got stickers now. Tell your friends, tell everybody. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Charlie's Chatter. Happy Halloween. The game will be on Halloween, and if you want to stay home instead of going trick-or-treating, you are free to do so.